This
25-minute drive,
conference will now be recorded.
25-minute drive to the pharmacy, and I'll be picking up her eye drops. Yes, Michelle, I have been off of ibrutinib for 7 months, and my doctor, I saw him back in the end of August. He is just says I'm looking great. He says he thinks that the remission I'm in from being on a BTK inhibitor for 9 years, he thinks is going to last for maybe 3 years or longer. So blood counts look great. We did not do any scans to check the nodes, but I don't have any nodes. Only ones I could really feel before were down in the groin, and I'm not feeling anything there. So I'm just doing just fine. And so.
That's fabulous. That really is. I'm happy to hear that. Gives me something to look forward to someday, to have a drug vacation. That would be
Yes. Let's see. And I heard from Elise, who is in my CLL Society group. She was on one of the facilitator calls the other day with Brian Kaufman, and he said they reported at IWCLL that they were seeing prolonged remissions for those that had been on ibrutinib for a lengthy period of time.
They did report that, and that was really great to see too. And you know, I did go some amount of time, but I had been on FCR and ibrutinib, and I was on the ibrutinib for close to 4 years, plus FCR in the beginning for 6 months. And I probably went 2 years before things started progressing again, but 2.5 until I needed to go on treatment, back on treatment. So I did get a bit of a holiday, and you know, this is no a doctor hasn't said this. I just am curious if I got pretty bad reactions to COVID vaccinations. And I do wonder if that helped rush my CLL along, because my lymph nodes under my arms never went down after the COVID vaccinations. But it's a catch-22. It could have been either because my CLL was starting to escalate, it caused that reaction, or the other way around. So still
what about the new nasal? So the deal is if I have a friend of mine that's really that I ride with that's diabetic and reactive to everything, and I was thinking about what about the new nasal one, because you have to fail 2 lines of COVID vaccinations or whatever in order to get this new one. And there's a new nasal one that's a different inhibitor. It's a different molecule.
Is that approved?
Yeah, it's approved, but the deal is it's expensive. So what you got to be able to do is show that you're reactive. Because I don't have I get sick and every little bit, but not like what some people go through after they get the shot. And so they got a new nasal. Look up, just Google nasal COVID vaccine. It just got approved, because I read all this stuff, and check that out.
It's one of the many reasons we love you, Jerry.
Because it's a different. If it's not mRNA, it's something. So it's kind of like the old, if you remember the old flu vaccines, where they grew and they killed the virus. So this is infecting you with a virus, but they got to do it twice. But I would seriously look at that if you had problems with mRNA, or the mRNA.
What is considered failing? You said you have to fail.
We have a bad reaction to it. We have a bad reaction to the shot, and people that just, it's no different from, they had the flu shot with it's grown in eggs and not, but you got to prove that you're allergic to eggs because you get allergic reaction. Similar thing.
Yeah, I don't know if mine was an allergic reaction or just bad. Sally, we can't hear you.
Sally, you're muted. You're not. Trials, there you go.
Gary.
We hear you. Go ahead.
I'm muted. I'm not muted. I was going to say to Gary that the nasal vaccine is only, as of today, it's only in phase 1 trials.
Oh, is it?
Wow, that's Sally on the spot there. Huh.
I'll put the link in the chat.
Michelle, would we like to see who needs time?
Absolutely. All right, so
So
Mary.
who got the second shot? I just got the latest shot
You did.
of COVID for the Moderna, the latest variant scenario. And man, it knocked me on my ass for about a day and a half.
Haven't gotten it yet. Let's talk about that once we go around and see who needs time. Mary, do you need time?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, we'll still come back to you. It's lovely to see you. Dana, we have you twice. Do you need 2 times tonight?
No, I lost it on one and tried signing in again. I don't know how to sign out of the other one.
Don't worry about it. Do you need time this evening to share anything with us?
No, I'm good.
Well, if you change your mind, let us know. And please
Okay.
comment, chime in whenever. Lou?
A little bit.
Okay. I saw your post, your London post, and what you said. I'm curious about that too. Alexa, I was just going to ask you if you needed time, but do you need time to tell us anything from AnCan?
I do actually have a question, if you just put me at the very last, that I wanted to ask.
Okay. Sally?
I have nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to get you on your love language. I think I know what it is. Sally and I were in a group together earlier today.
We're hanging out online all day.
I know. We've that meeting like this, a meet in person. Jim?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, Lynn must be in the pharmacy, so I'll come back and ask him. Jerry?
No, not really.
Jerry, you always have something that you
No, I
want
always have
to
something to say.
share,
I'll leave it to more important things because everything's good. So,
Mary, I love your.
Pardon?
I said to Mary that I loved her hair.
Me too.
Thank you.
Maybe you can come be my hairstylist at ASH.
When is Ash?
It opens December 9th, I believe. Let me double check.
And it's in New Orleans again?
No, it opens the 9th and closes the 12th, and it's in San Diego.
Ooh,
Oh, okay.
that's good.
If anyone has a private jet, that would be the safest way for me to fly. But right now I'm flying cattle class and I'm commercially, and I'm unsure if that's so safe, very safe. So I have to go back and check all that. I have, by the way, and I'll ask people around here, I probably don't have any immunity built from COVID, even though I had it all that lovely time. So let's go around. I'm just going to pick numbers out of an imaginary hat here. And Lou.
Okay.
Excuse me, my phone's screwing up on this again, and signing in a third time be ridiculous. So it was fun. Thank you very much. I tried. See ya.
Oh, Dana, next time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for being here. Oh, I feel so badly. We are having some odd problems tonight.
Yeah, and I put that link, Gary, I put that link in the chat.
I see that.
Okay.
Jerry, did you
I don't
see?
know if Jerry saw. it.
So we have a lot
I
of.
put the link
Oh,
about
okay.
the COVID phase 1 trials.
I gotta open up the chat. Where the heck's got it.
So Lou, now I haven't seen you in a couple of months. What is happening with you? And doing-
Yeah, we went, we left, I think it was the 15th for London and Paris. So we donned our masks and we had our air tamers on and we made it through airports and flying, and knock on wood, I think I, made it through the possibility of COVID. I had to get a test on Monday for the main reason that I wanted to share for a new clinical trial. I have been doing, the multiple myeloma treatments for 10 plus years. And I think
You're a
my
hero.
doctor said, my doctor said it best when she said, I said, are my T cells tired? And she said, yes, I think they're tired. So anyway, we're going to try somebody else's. So I'm trying for ALLO clinical trial for CAR-T and here at the University of Kansas. And I'm hoping it's a big, strong football player that's young and healthy. I'm hoping for those T cells. And the company that's doing it has donors, and they make the T cells, superpower, and then it's considered off the shelf. So they don't take my T cells. They have other donor, a healthy donor, and they've already programmed those. And so they're ready to go, as soon as somebody's identified as a candidate, for the clinical trial. This is a phase 1, which I've not been in a phase 1 before. I've been in a phase 2 a couple of times. Well, maybe iberdomide was a phase 1, but anyway, this is will be my 4th clinical trial. And I did a bone marrow biopsy this morning and took a long nap after that. The conscious sedation that they give you kind of makes me, out of it a little bit. So after a nap at 2:30, I got up and felt much better because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do tonight, because of fatigue. But I feel pretty good, and I've been doing all kinds of tests since Monday. Echoes. Tuesday I had a PET. They pretty much know me inside and out now. So that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. But anyway, I see Dr. Shanae is the primary physician on the clinical trial. And I see her Thursday to make sure I signed preliminary papers already, obviously, to start this process. And then Thursday, I'll go in and she'll review all of the tests and see if I, still qualify. When I got the call from her office last week, I had already been eliminated as a possibility for the ALLO CAR-T because my numbers weren't high enough. My myeloma numbers weren't high enough. It's one of those
Terrible when you're
things.
not sick enough for a clinical trial.
Isn't that the truth? It's like you can't be too high or it can't be too low.
It has to be just right.
That's
Like a
right.
bowl of oatmeal.
So they were looking for a 10 on my either kappa or on my M spike, in your bone marrow, which I just had that today. But regardless of what today's result will be,
Oh,
it
no.
won't eliminate me. Either one, either or had to be 10 or above. So this is kind of a baseline bone marrow biopsy, for the clinical trial. So anyway, still had to go through all of that. I mean, it's probably 6, 7 different tests. As anybody who's, had a clinical trial or treatment for a new therapy, you've got all of these tests.
Well, Lou, can I ask
primary
you a
tests.
question?
Yeah, I have some too.
Me three.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I know in our pancreatic cancer group, we have a lot of talk about clinical trials. That is, I feel like we talk about it every single meeting. And one of the things that I hear, because it sounds like you've been on several, is people are really nervous, especially in pancreatic. There's a lot of phase 1. So my question would be, are you nervous?
No, this is my 4th clinical trial. And the way I look at it, and my husband and I have discussed it many times, my first clinical trial was in 2019 for a regular CAR-T, and a Abecma CAR-T. And, then I just didn't know what it was about, and how a clinical trial runs. So a little nervous then, only because it's the unknown. But since that time, I've changed my attitude about clinical trials. I used to think, oh, I don't know, I might not agree with treatment or whatever, but you can stop. It's not like you sign in blood that well, sometimes, but it's not like you can't get out of it. You can, if you've got side effects you can't handle, or it's just more than you can handle personally, with the driving back and forth for appointments and all the tests and stuff. If it's just overwhelming, you can get out of it. I mean, there's nothing that says, you can't get out of it. So, there's always that. But the way I look at it is they're going to watch me so much closer than normal. They're going to keep an eye on things. So if anything accelerates, or your disease, really is out of control before you would normally have your spaced out appointments with your regular oncologist. So the way I look at it, you've got lots of eyes on you, and they're constantly doing labs. It's like every week, you're going in for something, sometimes more than one somethings. So the way I look at it is I've got lots of people in behind, pushing me along, hoping for the best and wanting. And then there's the clinical trial coordinator. I've talked to her twice today, so there are so many people rooting you on, that they don't want to drop the ball, and there's so many people watching in a clinical trial and testing and watching your test results, that the ball is not going to be dropped typically, because you've got so many people on your side and rooting for you and wanting things to be successful. So the way I look at it, clinical trials are a blessing, when it comes right down to it, compared to a normal, oh, you see your doctor every 3 or 6 months or every year or something. Somebody is watching you, and there are tests that are keeping an eye on your disease. So the way I look at it is it's not a minus. I mean, some people don't like visits. Well, if you don't like doctor visits and labs, these aren't the diseases you want to start with, But I look at it like, it's really, somebody's really watching out for you. The other thing, which is important just as well, even if I don't have success with this clinical trial, it gives them information for the future myeloma patients, so there's an altruistic element, to this as well. Nobody does a clinical trial solely just because you want to heal yourself. A clinical trial is truly collecting information so many people can be helped.
We're gonna call you Saint Lou.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Seriously, and that response just blew me away. I'm gonna have to like cut this down in the recording and save this because I
Yes.
feel like you explained it so well, and oh my God, that was incredible. I am still
She's
in
a
awe. So
teacher.
thank you for
She's
sharing
a
that.
teacher.
I took notes. I wrote down some quoted things that you said. I'll send them to you, Alexa.
Her name is Jett. That
Yeah.
person over there keeps lighting up every time you say that.
Yeah, Jerry and Mary and Lynn missed that. Jim, I think he's
Lou,
here.
is this a Beckma or Carvicti or a new company?
It's a BECMA. The name of the company is not one I recognized. Most of the time it's Janssen or Celgene or, the big, GlaxoSmithKline, whatever. But I'll look it up and
This ALLO
type it
stem.
in, in the chat later.
But they're using a Beckma.
It is a BECMA. The difference is, and what allows either Medicare or your insurance to approve it, because typically two CAR-Ts, they're not real excited about two CAR-Ts. If it didn't work the first time and the target is still a BECMA, they don't want really to pay for a second one because they figure if it didn't work the first time, it's not going to work the second time. The difference is the ALLO. So having it
I'm
by
surprised they're
someone
not
else's.
using Carvicti because Carvicti's got higher results.
I know, but they don't want to approve it because that's what I thought I was going to be getting because I had, a BECMA and then Carvecti, was a different kind of formulation, but it still was, BCMA,
Right.
with another target, I think. But they don't want to approve something that's got similar targets. So it was going to cause a
When
problem.
you say they, you mean insurance?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
insurance,
What is
Blue Cross Blue Shield, as well as Medicare. They don't like to approve something that has a similar target. So
Now, do
this
you
made it,
have to fight them or does the clinical trial people fight them?
well, nobody had to fight this because ALLO is this is phase 1,
Okay. Oh, good. Okay.
so we didn't have to fight anybody. But
Good.
it's a clinical trial, so they take care of most of the cost except for standard of care type things, labs, things that you would normally have, goes through your insurance. But it is not, it's not something that's, I don't think, been done outside of maybe lymphoma patients, solid tumor, from what I understand. So I think this
What
is
is
the
it?
first that they've used in myeloma.
But it has been
I-
used in others, right? Is this CAR-NT?
When you wait a minute, I just wanted, what hasn't been done before except in solid tumor?
ALLO CAR-T.
What is ALLO?
Okay, so CAR-T hasn't been done.
Allogenic.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right.
allogenic.
Allogenic means someone else's cells.
Right.
Allogenic is talking about other cells.
So you're
And
talking about
auto
CAR-T has not been done. Okay, got it.
with ALLO, with other people's cells.
Right.
For stem cell transplants, there are 2 ways you can do it. You can do it,
Right.
the way I did and, many others. And what they tried
Autologous and allo. Yeah.
autologous. Yeah. So that's what I had, back when I had stem cell, in 2013. But I could have had an allo stem cell transplant, someone else's cells, but mine were fine. Some people's cells are not fine. And I think mine are pooped.
I have a question. So this will be the off the shelf. Is that called CAR-NT?
No, it's actually allo. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
they refer to it as allo CAR-T. No N.
Yeah. And off the shelf has nothing to do with a chirogenic antibody, whatever the name of it is. Chirogenic, my mouth is so dry.
That's okay. I know what you mean.
But then,
So
I
Anyway,
think that's wonderful.
It
I'm
is.
so excited for you.
that's thanks. I'm excited about it, and it will require, just like any CAR-T, it will require the conditioning chemotherapy that will be next, or the
The
15.
24-hour care and the,
It'll
Yep.
be like
The-
go in, get
lots of care.
infusion, a couple of days, I think, in a row. And then there's 2 days rest to let that work. And it's called lymphodepleting chemotherapy.
is anybody else having problems with hearing her?
I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if anybody else is having you keep cutting out and I'm only hearing half of what you're saying, and I didn't know if it was Mike's connection or the
It's
whole
your
system.
connection.
You are cutting out.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's your
too.
connection.
But anyway, I do that the 15th if everything goes right. And then we'll be admitted to the hospital the 20th for 7 days for the infusion of the CAR-T cell.
So you'll be in there for 20, when does that start if all
20th. On the
Okay.
20th, I think, is when I go in for 7 days.
Oh, so you don't have to cook Thanksgiving dinner.
Nope. And I love, making pumpkin pies and making the turkey. I'm the house where, the kids come. So that's hard. The only other time I've not been able to do Thanksgiving is my stem cell transplant, also happened during the time, of Thanksgiving years ago. And David, David did everything. He did, mashed potatoes and turkey and pumpkin pie. And I mean, he takes over. He totally has the caregiver job down pat. Well,
You married the right man, Lou.
You met him, didn't you, Sally?
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's a good man.
He is a very good man.
He is.
He's funny.
He is. He's got that kind of sly little, quiet man humor. Yeah.
God, he doesn't say a word for an hour and then he just turns around and blurts out something short and very funny.
Yeah. He is.
Smart humor.
Uh-huh. A little you have to get used, to have to get used to. But he's a very, very kind, caring, loving husband. So
He's also
I'm very lucky.
smart. He's very smart.
Yes, he is very smart. Graduated the top of his class at Mizzou. So
Ooh.
yeah, he has the little key. What do you call the little Kappa key? Whatever it is.
Yeah, Phi Beta Kappa.
Phi Beta Kappa. He got that. So he's very, very, very smart. He will question that now because he thinks his brain cells are deteriorating as he ages, but he's got a lot.
No, they're just,
He's got a lot.
Lou, no, they're just tired.
Oh, is that it?
Is that it? So Lou, how many people are in your cohort for this trial? Do you know?
From what I understand and what I've read, 145, I think it is, across the nation. It's in 11 or 12 other sites, other cancer centers. And I believe Kansas, at the University of Kansas, that they had 6 slots.
So it's a multi-center trial.
Right. And you can go on to Spark Cures, or you can also go on to, I think, the .gov, clinicaltrials.gov, and it's listed.
I think it's I think I saw it on the health tree list of
Yes.
clinical
Yes.
trials as well.
Yeah.
Just in case anyone is watching and is wondering about it.
Yes.
So that's,
You can find out. Yeah. And you can actually go to KU's website and, it's on their cancer center information about clinical trials. Dr. Shune, and her name is spelled Shune. So she's the, one that is coordinating it at the BMT center. So,
and to what number are you? Do you know?
I might, it's been going on a few months, so I might be number 5 or 6. So, yeah, made it in barely. I was on the list a month and a half ago, but like I said, my numbers were not high enough at that time. So they moved me off the list. And then after the last labs that I had a week and a half ago, they put me back on the list. And that's when I got a call from Dr. Shanae.
Well, it's probably better you're not, I would think. You always want to be number 1 in many things, but not in this, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe let the other people get some of the kinks ironed out and.
Right. And something that a lot of your, listeners might be familiar with is host versus graft disease. When you get, whenever you get anything from another person that's not your own cells, there's an issue with growth, I can't even say it, graft versus host. And it could, be skin issues, it could be all kinds of things. And I actually was in an exercise class after my stem cell transplant with a gal that was a lawyer from Blue Springs, not just outside Kansas City. And she had full makeup every day, when we were exercising in this, kind of a recovery exercise group that the YMCA sponsored for free. And so I did that, and she always had full makeup. And then one time in a circle sharing time of the exercise group, she said, "You wonder why I have full makeup." And she explained she had graft versus host disease, and it made her skin totally splotched. And she said she wasn't sure she was ever gonna have, a time that she didn't have that. And she said, "I will come to the next exercise group without my makeup on, so you can see." And she did. And I know that it can manifest itself in many ways, but a lot of times you'll hear about the issues with skin. But anyway, I was assured that when they reprogram the T cells from the healthy donor, in that process, they eliminate almost 100% of the things that can cause the host versus graft. So that, helped make my decision, because, immediately I was like, oh, I don't want that on my plate. I don't want any added extra issues. So anyway, I talked to her many times, and my regular Dr. Abdallah, about it, and they assured me that it was so highly unlikely, and they hadn't had anybody with host versus graft in the study across the nation so far. So anyway, that's what I've been doing.
Jerry, we can't hear you. You're muted.
There we go. The deal is when I had it with me, I still have it and everything. And it's because I have a 22-year-old Norwegian girl, stem cells, which are highly reactive to graft versus host. When it's female to male, you run a high probability of having some issues, even if it's a perfect match, which I was. And so the skin is brutal still. I mean, 2 years after, the skin and mostly arthritis in the joints. I never really had arthritis before until now, and all of a sudden I'm so bone depleted and everything, but I really feel good because it's the stem cells from the 22-year-old girl is like, now you know why Tiger Woods does this. And all the sports stars do this, because I mean, you get the vim and vigor of a complete kind of overhaul. It's like an oil change with synthetic oil on an older engine.
Wow, that's a really great way to state it. Are you sure? I thought you were kidding around when you said it was a 21-year-old or 22-year-old Norwegian woman.
No,
Is it true?
no. Well, she's 24 now, but I'm saying, yeah, it was. They had 2 perfect matches, but they picked her, and so that's the only thing they told me, though. They didn't tell me, really where or anything, because I filled out the form to meet my donor, but they've never answered, so I don't know. All I can do is reach out, and I'm done. But the deal is, yeah, that's what they said.
And here I thought you were kidding around
Oh,
before.
no. See, I'm emotional. I'm bad straining right now.
Except for the
Well-
blonde hair.
Yeah, no blonde hair. I used to have blonde hair, but that was gone when they did the platinum chemo to me, where they injected me with my oncologist called the chemo the kitchen sink. He said, I threw the kitchen sink at you to get me into remission, which it did. And so, speaking of trials, the interesting thing is I went through the 2 of the traditional rounds of chemo for the depletion, doing the bone stuff and everything. But what they did is they kept me on an IDH1 inhibitor. And that inhibitor, I mean, because I almost died the first time around. They did what do they call it when they hook you up and they
Intubated?
photo remove the white blood cells in a machine. It's for diabetics. I forget the name of it now. But anyway, the deal is they did that to me and brought me back. And then meanwhile, I started taking this IDH1 inhibitor, and it started dropping because it denied the cancer cells a way to reproduce. And I said, well, now that I'm going through chemotherapy, should I stop? No. And I took that up to the day I got transplanted, because they didn't think I was going to hit remission. And now I'm reading about it with all these studies of saying now they're talking about a try approach, where they're using inhibitors, and what they're using is the traditional chemotherapy on top of it. Because the problem you have is a lot of the cancer cells, they're so smart and everything, they're programmed to hide. And so they'll hide even under very, very small percentages. And so what the proteins do is they block that thing from reproducing. So eventually it out reproduces itself, so that the chemotherapy and everything. So it's interesting to see how this is kind of the lead thing now for the AML, particularly AML. If you have certain, classes of the genetic deviation. But the deal it worked.
Well, this is why in multiple myeloma, Jerry, that they've gone from a quad therapy to from a 3-drug regimen to a 4-drug regimen in the last 2 years. And what you're talking about is a proteinase inhibitor, which is part of the multiple myeloma induction therapy. And that's exactly what it is. It keeps it from trying not to die.
And one of the things that was discussed at IWCLO, which Lynn had brought up before, and they had discussed, I guess the original goal of forming IWCLL and the founding doctors was to find a cure for CLL. And it came up in a discussion that hasn't happened and they should not be giving up on it. And that obviously they're missing something. And what, they need to dig deeper, they were saying, into genetics to find out what that is they're missing and what targeted therapy, because they are hitting it the same way, at different cells. That's why they added obinutuzumab to my BTK inhibitor. So it'd be kind of a 1-2 punch. But then there are other things that need to be targeted as well. So it is pretty fascinating when you look at it. But Jerry, when they threw that kitchen sink at you, I guess they were throwing at all the different things.
Yeah, because he came back and said, you know, but so I had my oncologist before I went to the transplant oncologist, because the transplant oncologist I went to was running the whole center from Carmanos in metropolitan Detroit and Oakland University and stuff like that. And so the deal was is they just came back and said, yeah, my first oncologist came back and said, well, you know, if you don't get in remission, we can still transplant you and everything. It's just going to be a little harder and everything. But because of that cocktail, the therapy got me into total remission. And everything I read about this seems to be a much better longevity towards it. So I can put up with the graft versus host. I just coat myself. You know, I buy a Vino anti-itch when it's on sale at Amazon. You know, buy two, get one free. I load up on all that stuff and everything.
Will that go away eventually?
I hope it's getting less. I'm on a JAK inhibitor right now. It's called Jakafi, and so I think Sally was familiar with it. Deal is that was a lifesaver versus the cortisone and steroids and all the other stuff. And now I'm down to every other day for the JAK inhibitor, and they'll probably taper me again. I'm going to see them next week. And then once I'm kind of off of that, I'm off of anything related to the stem cell. Other than the what do they call it? Shingles. I'm still waiting on the shingles.
You have shingles?
No, I had chickenpox, so the deal is I'm on what's the antiviral for shingles?
Acyclovir.
Acyclovir. Everybody, acyclovir. It's the multivitamin of our set.
What's interesting is my oncologist thinks that's more effective than Shingrix.
Could be.
I think both would be more effective, but
That's what Sally was saying. Is, hey, stay on it forever. Is what she said.
wait a minute.
A couple months ago, she was talking about it.
You've been
What did you
reset.
say?
Remember, Sally?
What?
When you were talking about acyclovir, hey, just stay on acyclovir.
It's a cyclovir.
Yeah.
Gotta stay on it. Because we don't have the antibodies to get the shingles shots. They won't take. According to my doctor.
So I have a question. You had chicken pox, but did your donor have chicken pox?
I had no idea. They don't tell you anything. They just
But
said, we got a perfect match for you, and here you go.
But would that matter? Even though you had chicken pox, would that still matter since you had a
Because
transplant?
you're only getting T cells, you're not getting
Okay.
antibodies, so.
So that's why you didn't get the blonde hair, Jerry,
I had
because
it before.
it's
I
not
just
T
lost it
cells.
all. I already had it. But it's okay, because now my wife says she's kind of into the baldness. And she says, my God, man, you look like a Viking now. So maybe she has something for Vikings, so it's all good.
Vikings are in, you know, or a day
She's
doesn't
gonna
go
call
by.
me Ragnar.
Right, Alexa? Vikings are in.
But I ain't getting no tattoos. No tattoos. Not doing it. Not going down that hole.
Just get press-on tattoos, then you can change them.
Good boy.
Lou, that's
Good work.
fascinating about the graft versus host disease. I'm still thinking about that and how they can reprogram things so that doesn't happen. This is just extremely
That's great. I
fascinating.
mean, that'd be wonderful.
I'm looking forward to, I hope you can join us next month. You will be, wait a minute, you'd be home by then. Because it would be December, it's the first week in December, I know that.
Right. I should be home
Done.
by the end of, the month, so. But
And
I will
also, big welcome to Barbell as well.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
Barbell.
Barbell.
I think I'm late. Change. Is that right?
We haven't changed yet.
I haven't changed yet.
Where are you? In prison?
Barbell, the audio is, we are having trouble with audio tonight. And including with You. It's not as loud as usual. I don't know if we can turn that up either.
I don't think you can. You have to do it on her. She has to
Or
do it
Bill.
on her own mic.
Have you
Turn it
been
up,
out?
but I don't know if it works.
Have you been out until now? You're just getting in at oh my gosh, would it be 3 in the morning?
It is 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, 2.
Lou, I was gonna say, if you need me to drive to Kansas City, I'll do it.
Aw.
That is so sweet of you. The only reason that might ever happen, that I would need help, would be if David got COVID, or, you know, my sister lives in St. Louis, and
Okay.
she came for 2 weeks to help when I had my stem cell transplant. So she's retired, and so she is always available for me if I need her, which is really good. My daughter is
Well,
just teaching, so she obviously is tied up with school, but my sister is always there for me too.
And I have
Thank
good
you.
friends in St. Louis that I can drive to St. Louis, spend the night, and get to Kansas City the next day.
Wow, I like this is great teamwork.
That sounds like a plan.
Lynn,
It
are
takes me
you,
almost as much time to get to Mary as it would to get to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Lynn, are you in the pharmacy or in the car still?
Putting the deer and the raccoons. I just almost had a raccoon. I'm a mile from the house, and I've passed 4 deer. One of them had a nice big rack, and I'm on a road that has a speed limit of 70 miles an hour, and then it drops to 60, and I've been going 35 miles an hour the whole way because it is out in the boondocks.
And deer season, right? I mean, you got to really watch.
Yeah, yeah, archery, both seasons opens, I think, in October, and then regular deer season opens November 1 about.
Yeah, but the
So,
bucks are already
yeah,
chasing.
I have hit. Yeah, they're already interested in the girls,
Yeah.
and we got some Norwegian deer in here that look really attractive.
Jerry, I think that they,
Long bottom hair.
See, there you go.
They have a really attractive accent. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm almost home, and when I get home, I'll switch over to my computer. It took me about 35 minutes just to drive into town, but she said no, go ahead and do your call, but she needed me to get her medicine, so that's what I did.
what a good husband.
Do you want to get a piece?
Well, I'm trying to compete with Lou's husband. I'm hearing such wonderful things about him, and I didn't graduate. I didn't graduate at the top of my class, but in engineering, I graduated. Lottie, how come?
Lordy.
I never heard
You know,
that.
Come here.
you know what they call the doctor that graduates, the medical student that graduates at the bottom of his class? Doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah. So, yep. If I had my lights on, had a camera on, you would see I'm driving up a Caliche Road, the last 50 yards to the house. And anyway, I'm going to disconnect, go in the house. I've enjoyed listening. I've been listening almost all the way. I did the drive up for the pharmacy, but I'll reconnect probably in about 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
I almost asked him to put his phone on FaceTime to see if we could draft anyone at the pharmacy to join our group. See if there happened to be anyone who could use the nice support group like us.
I thought he was with the men speaking badly, or what is it? Men behaving badly. That happens twice a month. No, men speaking freely. That's it.
Jim,
Uh,
Sometimes they're
speaking
speaking
for-
badly. I don't know what happens at men speaking freely, but I can only assume
but
sometimes
but
they're
it's all
speaking
guys
bad.
with prostate. It's all guys with prostate cancer. I don't, it's different from blood cancer. It's a totally different thing,
Jim, you go to that, right?
No, I don't.
That's
There you
because you don't speak badly.
go.
Well, I've been actually pretty good on the 5 years of treatment. Now 15 months of treatment holiday, and interesting enough, because I stopped all the drugs, eventually my testosterone is supposed to start to recover, right? So it did. In
Wow.
July, well, in May, it was less than 25. In July, it jumps to 113, which is good, right?
How's things at
August,
home?
August, it drops to 34. Then it jumps to 144. And in the next month, 105. Next month, 92. So it's on a trend downward. You say, how are things at home? I think you are referring to in the boudoir. Well, the catch is I don't have ED, I got EM, erectile malfunction. And because I have it and where the government happens to pay me extra money, yes, there's a law called loss of use of creative organ.
Wow.
And they have determined, Gerald, your value in the bedroom. And if you can't perform, they have determined, and don't tell the wife this, okay? Because she may look at you sometime and say, last month I didn't get my $128.62 worth. And that's actually the amount the government says we are worth
There you
in
go.
the bedroom.
So
So
it's your internet bill.
no, so it's interesting because provided that it continues to drop, then I might not have to go back on the drug I was on to keep it down. So if it just decides to quit, that's actually a good thing.
Uh-huh.
I think anyway, but I'll see. So who knows?
So does it go to long-term disability or? So do you
Oh
move
yeah.
from short-term to long-term or?
Oh no. Because of the fact I am stage 4, I'm 100% permanent and total. So according to the VA.
So that doesn't have to be reviewed every so many years?
No, because of the fact I am 100%, I was declared absolutely 100%. Now, if you are being treated and it could get better, then yes, indeed, it is reviewed every 6 months. So, oh yes, just for your own information, I don't know if I told you this last month, but if you ever happen to bump into a veteran who has then, MS, okay, the VA will absolutely support them 100%, all of the medical bills, just because they're a veteran. They don't have to have a service connection for it. Okay, and it's a great thing actually, because generally for the things like mine, you have to have a service connection, and I do. Anyway, Agent Orange.
That's good to know.
Yes, it is, especially on an MS person.
And we have a blog post about it, and I'm posting the link in the chat.
Along with end-stage renal failure. That too. And also ALS, I found out.
Mm-hmm.
CLL as well from Agent Orange. There are some CLL veterans with CLL from that.
And then you got
Oh,
the
yes.
June stuff and everything. I mean, on and on.
What?
The Camp Lejeune.
Well, yeah. Camp Lejeune probably happens to qualify. Although I bumped into a guy last week who was within the Pentagon, right? Okay, at the time it got hit. And I think he's got SLL.
Wait a minute, can you repeat that? Because I was at the Pentagon when it was hit.
You were there?
Well, I was the first. I wasn't there the day it was hit. I was there 2 days later and worked from there for a few weeks.
I take it you were not within and with military, right?
I was not in the military. I was there to assist with their public affairs, and I went to the area where it was burning. So
Oh, okay.
I always wondered about that.
Because he was, I think, a lieutenant colonel at the time, and he tells me that if you were within the Pentagon on the day it was hit, and you were within the military, you were awarded combat pay for 1 day, tax-free. Interesting. Now, he then had to return for the next 3 or 4 days, and he said that all the debris was coming through the air handlers, and there was a lot of the toxic stuff was in it. And that's the thing that he believes he got. I think it was SLL out of it. And then not too long ago, he got the prostate cancer. So he's got 2 of them.
Firefighters get various cancers and blood cancers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they were, that area was under, they had hoses running for days and days, if not weeks, I recall, on that area at the Pentagon. So did he get any kind of award for, a monetary award for this happening? Or not?
Well, he is now 100% veteran, disabled, but he has about he gets paid extra because he's got 2 of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in general, firefighters, because of the foam that has been used essentially over the years, that's a big cause of the leukemias.
The foam itself.
Yes, and with the foam that they
Yes,
use
PFAS.
the aircraft or the fires. I think it's called PHHH or
PFAS.
Yeah, right.
What is it? I'm sorry.
PFAS. So the deal is the problem, it's like it's 3M, it's like a Teflon. So it's very water repellent, it's heat resistant and everything. So the problem they're having right now is all the firefighters' clothes are all with PFAS and everything. So they're coming down with all kinds of stuff, even just on the basic firefighter coats and everything. And we had a big dump here in Detroit with a chemical manufacturing company that was doing plating with PFAS. They just dumped it. Some guy just decided to dump it in and polluted all the lakes and everything around here with PFAS because it could stay in you for it's a forever chemical.
Uh-oh.
Do they still use that?
I
Aw,
think we're going to have a hootenanny here.
I haven't heard that word in decades. Lynn, I love this serenade. Barbell has joined us, you know, all the way from Germany to hear you play your guitar. Oh, you muted
Well,
yourself.
can you hear me?
We could hear you.
Except you're
Well,
cutting in and out.
well, I was going to sing a Sweet Caroline. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's nice. Barbell, did you have
Well, I'm on the
anything?
oldest computer.
Oh, we liked hearing you serenade us, Lynn. That was nice.
Oh, we can't hear him.
I thought I had muted the microphone.
Oh, we didn't want you to. We liked it. Barbell, did you have anything you wanted to share? Although I'm having problems anyway hearing you. I don't know if anyone else is.
I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you?
Yes.
It's the bottom of a goldfish bowl.
Yeah, it's like you're in a tunnel.
That's okay. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, well, I have a cold.
Oh,
Some blood blisters on one foot sole, but it's healing. But other than that, I'm okay.
shouldn't you be trying to sleep if you have a cold to get over it?
Well, I did already say that for quite a while and it's improving, but it hasn't gone away completely.
Well, rest is important for you right now, but how else are you doing otherwise?
Oh, I'm doing fine, really. No issues. Besides the cold.
That's
Blood
wonderful.
on the sole of my feet was a bit bad because I couldn't walk very well. But other than that, I'm okay.
That's really good to hear. And Lynn, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Yes, yes. If y'all can hear me, stop me if you can't hear me. Wave your hands or whatever. But of course, I'm an SLL patient slash CLL. Of course, it's all the same disease, CLL and SLL. But blood cancer in the B cell cancer in the lymph nodes, and I was on ibrutinib for 9 years, beginning back in 2014. And at that time, that was about the only option that wasn't chemotherapy. And I did not have favorable markers for chemotherapy because I am unmutated. And so anyway, I actually started off with lenalidomide, also known as Revlimid, which is a drug that the multiple myeloma patients are familiar with. I took that along with Rituxan, and after 3 months, in April of 2014, my doctor said it's not working, and I said, "Well, you said that the tumors are not getting any larger." And he said, "Well, that means it's not working. They have to get smaller for it to work." So he said, "We're going to try a brand new drug," and that was ibrutinib. So anyway, but at the same time, they noticed in my lungs there was some opaqueness in my lungs, unexplained. Don't know if it was from having pneumonia at an earlier time or what. Nobody's given me a theory on it. But in 2019, they said you've got looks like pulmonary fibrosis and it is progressing. Idiopathic, which means it's of unknown cause, but not a smoker. And so anyway, since 2019, my lungs have gotten worse each checkup. Progressive idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. So I was thinking, well, I'm going to die, but not from CLL. I'll die with CLL, but I may die with fibrosis. We'll just see. But anyway, my doctor, my new doctor at UT Southwest, Dr. Farouk Alwan, said, and he was one of the early doctors who worked on the trials with the ibrutinib. He said, I'm going to take you off of ibrutinib. I said, thank you. I've been trying to get off of it for 3 or 4 years already. And he said, well, we're going to take you off of it. I think you'll stay in remission for several years, 3, 4 years, whatever. And in the meantime, we're going to get you lined up with a pulmonologist. And the pulmonologist put me on a drug called Esbriet, Esbriet. Echo Sierra Bravo Romeo India Echo Tango, Esbriet, Esbriet. And anyway, so I came back. I was started on that drug, and then I came back after a couple of months, and they did the pulmonary function test again, and said, so far it's not working. Your lungs are continuing to get worse. And so then I returned again on October 27th and did the test again. And the doctor came in with a great big smile on her face and said, your lungs are better. They're back to where they were 6 months ago or 7 months ago when we first started this. So something's working here, either you being off your cancer drug or being on this this drug for pulmonary fibrosis or the combination thereof or whatever. So anyway, we celebrated and we're still celebrating. And so that's good news. You know how it is when it hangs over your head and you're thinking, what is coming? What's around the corner? So when you get some good news, you run with it for all you got. When you finally get the negative report on COVID, it's a celebration. And Michelle, I'm glad to hear that you are now over the COVID and you're back on your BTK inhibitor, which I don't remember. Is it acalabrutinib or is it one of the other ones?
A
Okay,
caliber.
so you're on acalabrutinib and obinutuzumab, and is that
I'm
right?
I finished obinutuzumab in August, so
Okay,
just the acalabrutinib, but the obinutuzumab's stripping your immune system and also the good effects of it lasts quite a long time. So yeah, my immunity is stripped for anywhere from 6 to 24 months after the
yeah.
end of obinutuzumab. But yes, things are headed back in the right direction.
Michelle, I haven't had an immune system since my stem cell transplant.
And you're out and about doing things.
Yep. And I'm going to Southeast Asia in 6 weeks.
Spin the barrel.
Ew. That's
I'm not going to be put under a bushel. But the funny thing is I've been less sick in the last 3 years than I have in the previous 60 years. But my IgG is normally below 400. And I only get IVIG every 6 weeks.
So you're still getting that. I don't know why I thought you would stop that. Did you pause it for
They
a while?
stopped it for a year. Yeah, they stopped it for a year, and I still didn't get sick. But since I'm going to Southeast Asia, he wanted to start it up again in August. So just
And
to
what-
make sure that
That's good. That's really,
I
that's
have no M and no A. I have no IgA or no IgM. None.
Lou, what about you? How are your levels?
My IgG is usually a little elevated, and it is right now because I haven't been on treatment, for a while.
Elevated to
So
what? Elevated to what?
I don't have my numbers in front of me.
About.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, is it 1,000 or is it
No,
higher? Okay.
no,
Well, that's
below
normal.
that.
That's
Yeah,
normal.
yeah, but higher than, it fluctuates. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have the IgG memorized, but Kappa, I can tell you my Kappa is 10.25. That's my magic number. So,
Now, Jerry, do you have, you don't have much immunity, right? Or is your immunity rebuilt?
You know, they really can't tell me. I mean, I said, well, what happens if I get COVID? He says, packs a little bit. I don't go because I read about the stuff about the immunocompromised because I'm still doing the anti-rejection stuff for the graft versus host. And so I read so much about how COVID could really hammer.
But you don't get an immunoglobulin test every month?
No. I haven't had, I mean, I don't think I've ever had one. It's kind of weird, but yeah, no, I never get tested for that. I'm not aware of that anyway.
Maybe they would let you know if it was an issue. But
yeah, I mean, I want to stay safe anyway. You know, it isn't worth it for my, you know, to eat in a restaurant versus what like you went through and everything. Forget it. It's just it's not worth it. I'll get carry out. You know, it's just not worth it. I do everything. I do everything outside. All my friends, everything. We meet people. It's outside.
exactly.
It's the only way we do it. We did it tonight. Froze our ass off. 34 degrees having a beer outside after bicycling. Freezing, but they did it because they know I'm inhibited or, you know.
No, you're not.
You know, that's very nice that they do that. What are you going to do for Thanksgiving?
Nothing. I don't like turkey anyway.
Yeah, we weren't. My nephew
My only
asked.
concern is the 32-hour flight.
You should. That is a concern. Are you going first class so you have your own little pod? Because that sort of thing is worth it to protect your health.
And Lou gave me the suggestion of the air filter thing, and I've got that. So
what is that, Lou? You mentioned that. What is that?
it's called the Air Tamer, AIR, and then TAMER. I got it off Amazon, and we've had it this is my second one, I think about 5-6 years now. So anytime we're on an airplane, anytime we're on an airplane or anything, we wear it.
Or in a crowd.
Yeah, the airports or
absolutely.
a large gathering. Yeah.
I never knew about this air tamer. I like it.
It purifies the air that you're breathing.
It sends negative ions around your head, and it resists then other like viruses, things like that. It repels that because of the negative ion that encircles your head. So it's something that
does it actually. It generates, seriously. A guy invented it out of Arizona, and it sends negative ions through a tungsten rod through the toothbrush, and so it's like an ionic care, so it like it vibrates and everything, but it generates negative ions, which breaks apart plaque and everything. Because the problem you got with our stuff is your teeth and everything, and this thing, I mean, it's a godsend versus when I used to have to sit there with getting your teeth cleaned and everything. She would sit there for an hour just digging away because you get dry mouth and all the other stuff that you get. And I'll tell you what, it's absolutely, I understand the negative ions, because what it does is it repels stuff, and it's sophisticated things that do that understand the electromechanics of your mouth or your face or your head or anything.
Yeah.
So is this do I get a twofer? Will this clean my teeth at the same time?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it takes off all coffee stains, all that stuff. It's really, I mean, it's.
Well, let me tell you how we do it in Texas. I don't wear a mask anywhere unless it's required. And I eat out 3-4 times a week. My wife, her language of love is food. So I have to feed her on a regular basis. And I take her out to eat. And and she loves me again, but then she gets hungry and I got to feed her again. And I say I don't wear a mask, but let me tell you the secret. If you grow a nice mustache like I've got, that filters the air.
No
It will
hair.
catch
No
it
hair.
will it will catch the germs. And when I
Oh,
wash my hair, I go ahead and wash my mustache too.
I'd have to
So
take the thing on. If it would
so I,
stick with all the lotion I have to use.
This has been a stand-up comedy night. You all
and
have
I
Yeah,
delivered
I
very
was gonna say,
well.
you still have to wear a mask,
and I don't get
even with
IgG.
those things.
You have a point there, Lynn. I prefer to not have a mustache like yours. No offense, but on you it looks great. Not so much on me, but it
How
does.
do
You would
you
be a shock.
know?
I think Michelle, you'd still be very pretty, but you'd be a different one of a kind.
For a
Isn't
head
it?
job.
It's No Shave November, right? Isn't it like the month for men to grow their mustaches and beards or
Mhm.
something?
Yeah,
Well,
November.
deer season.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one.
And the beauty of it is you don't have to change your underwear, but every 2 weeks.
Okay, that one I
Underwear. Who
know.
wears underwear? I'm joking.
Jett,
Yes, hi.
hi. Yes, it's just been it actually has been a very fun evening here.
Very much so.
So see you all same place, same time next month, although I may be on an airplane. I have to double check the day and the night if I'm on a plane flying to Ash or not. Because I think, anyway, I'll figure that out and let Ms. Jett know. It's been lovely spending half of the day with you, Sally. It's been great seeing all of you. Best of wishes, Lou, because we won't see you until after you've been through the start of your CAR-T.
Yes.
Hoping everything
I'm
goes
so
smoothly.
glad you look so great.
I feel great.
Look great.
Well, Lou,
Yeah.
if you
I feel
do,
great.
if you get that football player's T cells, you may be like very muscular and taller next
Yeah.
time.
And
Hey,
I'm curious about if you need anything, let me know.
Travis
I am pretty
Kelce.
free.
But you'll be
Anything I
distant.
need to
You'll be distant all the
do,
time now.
I mean, I don't Thanksgiving.
Belle, we're happy that you joined us and hope you're feeling better.
Yeah,
And
I hope I will
Mary,
too.
Mary and Jim, thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure, Jerry. Glad to have you back.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, Lynn.
Have a good month.
Alexa, thanks for being here with us.
Oh, of course. And Michelle, can I talk to you real quick?